The United States Coast Guard operates over 300 light stations. Starting with the earliest colonies, the establishment of lighthouses parallels the progress of our nation, including Portland Head. Moving southward down the eastern coast, Montauk Light is familiar to millions of people who have visited it throughout the years. Lighthouses are built in many shapes and sizes. The original Cape Henry, Virginia light was among the earliest, being requested by President George Washington. The first light at Cape Hatteras in North Carolina was completed in 1798. The St. Augustine, Florida light, located in the oldest city in the country, was established in 1825. In the 1870s, 6 Florida reef lights of skeleton wrought iron construction were built. Many lights in the Caribbean are Coast Guard operated, including San Juan, Puerto Rico light atop the old Spanish fort. The Great Lakes area contains a great many lighthouses, some land-based and some located offshore, like Stannard Rock. White Shoal Light, built in 1910, is one of the several lights that mark the passage from Lake Huron to Lake Michigan. Alaskan lighthouses are among the most inaccessible in the world. Many were built on islands, like Eldred Rock, while others occupy high cliffs. Navigational aids are of particular importance here. Moving southward down the Pacific coast, Destruction Island Light in Washington State was one of the earlier lighthouses built in the Pacific Northwest. Another light, Yaquina Head, is located in Oregon. Many lights were built in the 1850s due to the influence of the gold rush. Point Reyes Light in Northern California, at a height of 290 feet above the sea, needs only a short tower, due to the height of the point. Mile Rock Light at the entrance to San Francisco Bay was built in 1906 upon a rock measuring only 40 by 30 feet. The picturesque coast to the south contains a number of lights, including Anacapa Island with its steep cliffs which provide elevation for the lighthouse. Not far from Los Angeles, the Point Hueneme Light Station is an example of a modern light, providing all the comforts possible for the lightkeeper. This old light, built some 100 years ago, still stands atop Point Loma near San Diego, but is no longer in use. The present lighthouse, located at the base of the cliffs, provides more visibility than was possible in the fogs swirling around the older light above. In Hawaii, there are 6 lighthouses. Makapu Light on Oahu Island contains the largest lens in a lighthouse of the United States, some 8.5 feet in diameter. The lighthouses shown represent only a few of the hundreds located along the eastern seacoast, in the Caribbean, on the Great Lakes, in Alaska, along our western coast, and in the Pacific. Each serves its particular purpose, designed to fit a specific need. Many have existed for centuries, and all of them have exciting, colorful histories. Since the first lighthouse of record, the flaming Pharos of Alexandria, built by the ancient Egyptians to mark the entrance of the Nile, some 250 years before the Christian era, man has altered and improved the lights guiding ships to safe harbor. Boston Light, dating from 1716, was the first lighthouse built in the colonies. It was destroyed in the Revolutionary War. The present lighthouse was built by Massachusetts about 1783. In the early 1800s, keepers lived with their lights around the clock. Their wives, even on the small salaries, managed to provide a comfortable household and plain but ample food. And if the master of the house was a few minutes late, there was time to wait, even a few additional moments. Life was simple, uncluttered, and devoted to duty, in the days of candlelight on pewter plates and iron kettles in the fireplace. The old gas street lights of the gay 90s have given way to the electric lights of today. and the oil vapor lamps used in lighthouses during the last half of the century have also been replaced. Conimicut Light near Providence, Rhode Island was the last to use oil vapor lamps, and it will give way soon to modern lamps. The old lights required preheating of their mantles surrounding the lamp's flame and careful adjustment to operate properly. Today, the oil vapor lamps have been relegated to museums, symbols of a period and a forgotten way of life. They're the victims of progress. Lighthouses are one of the few things that may span centuries in America with little change in exterior. Portland Head Light, known and loved by millions of tourists, is a good example of modern living at a lighthouse. It's a two-family light with living quarters on station. Coast Guard personnel on two family lights have their separate quarters with comfortable living conditions. While it's good duty, responsibilities are still heavy, demanding carefully trained personnel. The chief, having completed his daytime working hours, relaxes in the evening. And unlike his predecessor of the 1830s, his work is finished before the evening meal is ready. Meanwhile, another Coast Guardsman is on duty, testing the generator operation as one of his general duties carried on at regular intervals. This station is operated with commercial electricity. Generators are instantly started in the event of power failure to continue service to mariners. The light in this tower is a self-contained revolving beacon, 36 inches in diameter, using 1,000-watt lamps, accurately timed to repeat the same series of flashes at regular intervals so that the mariner can identify the light. Coast Guard lighthouses are of functional construction, such as the Butler Flats concrete caisson-type lighthouse at New Bedford, Massachusetts. Another type of lighthouse is that of a masonry tower, providing height above the landmass. Many installations may also contain radio beacon towers. While the individual ashore may admire a lighthouse for its beauty, its real purpose serves the mariner. The Florida reef lighthouses, built about 100 years ago, are of skeleton wrought iron construction to resist hurricanes. Like American Shoals Light, Carey's Fort Reef Light is of wrought iron. Built in 1852, its height exceeds 100 feet. Lansing Shoals Light in Lake Michigan is built on a rock-filled crib. Isolated light stations require resupply services bi-monthly. Needed supplies and mail are delivered, and the vessel may take one of the lightkeepers ashore for rest and recreation. Winter schedules are maintained as much as possible. In some cases, lighthouses may be closed during extremely cold winters when navigation ceases in the area because of heavy ice conditions. This light was established in 1928. It's equipped with a white 35,000 candle power light, radio beacon, and fog signal. Lighthouses are placed on prominent headlands, at entrances to harbors, and on isolated dangers or at other points where it's necessary that mariners be warned or guided. Their principal purpose, to support a light at considerable height above the water. In this unique lighthouse, the lamp assembly may be lowered and raised for servicing. Distinctive light characteristics are obtained by employing lights of various colors, some burning steadily, others flashing at intervals. During the routine check of the light, inoperative lamps are replaced in the automatic lamp changer. This device automatically moves another lamp into position when one fails during operation of the light. Another function of lighthouses is the operation of marine radio beacons, by which navigators can determine their position in any kind of weather. Lighthouse personnel maintain the proper timing of the transmitting equipment. Radio beacons transmit specific signal characteristics, which identify the particular station. The Coast Guard maintains and operates all marine radio beacon stations of the United States and its possessions. Signals are transmitted from high towers or other antennas located on or near the lighthouse stations. The foghorn is still important lighthouse equipment. A mariner must be able to identify and locate it. Fog signals, operated by mechanical means, are sounded on definite time schedule, providing positive identification. The Oak Island, North Carolina lighthouse provides one of the most powerful lights in the world. From an elevation of 169 feet, a light of more than 14 million candle power can be displayed. One of the most modern of such lights in the Coast Guard, its 4 powerful revolving beams may be seen on a clear night for 19 miles at sea. The Coast Guard also has many automatic lights, including some controlled by radio. This one at Long Beach, California, a robot light, provides a high candle power light, radio beacon, and fog signal. The history of lighthouses through the ages is the tradition of man fighting the elements to provide navigational services. Sometimes man loses. Here at Scotch Cap, Alaska, a huge seismic wave swept away the lighthouse and its men in 1946 with the loss of 5 lives. All that remains of the lighthouse, mute evidence of nature's tremendous forces, are steel beams bent in the direction taken by the seismic wave. Another of nature's vast forces is the volcano. Unpredictable, it may unleash its fire and volcanic ash at any time. Kilauea volcano in Hawaii erupted in 1960, sending its rivers of lava down to the sea. Cape Kumukahi Light Station lay between the molten lava streams and appeared safe. But the forces of nature won again, and with the light station endangered, the keeper and his wife were forced to abandon it. A Coast Guard buoy tender offshore prepared to moor a large lighted buoy to temporarily replace the light, should it become extinguished. Volcanic lava, pouring into the ocean, sent up clouds of steam as the buoy was set by the crew. It's against the unpredictable forces of nature that the Coast Guard safeguards life and property at sea. An integral part of the Coast Guard's aids to navigation system, operating summer and winter in good weather and bad, Coast Guard lighthouses and light stations by the hundreds dot the coasts of the United States and are located in the Caribbean, in Alaska and Hawaii. Many of them are more than 100 years old, spanning the whole gamut of peace and war. Today they are modern, efficient, serving today's navigational needs in the best tradition of the Coast Guard.